Different states with different laws, a different look at the Constitution. That's the Morning Buzz, and that was former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi talking about the efforts to ban President Trump from the 2024 ballot. Pelosi getting pushback for those comments because it's up to the Constitution, not the states, to determine if he can run. She's saying different states have different laws, Todd. This from the former Speaker of the House. Do I have that right?
This is so offensive to me as a lawyer, but it is much bigger than that. To your point, Maria, this is dangerous to put these kind of notions out there, because what happens if you're only watching one media, you hear this, you think, oh, the Speaker of the House, former Speaker of the House is saying this, it must be right. This is wholeheartedly 100% incorrect. Good on Stephanopoulos for calling her on it, but bad on her for putting it out there in the ether. And Maria, it goes to a larger notion of Democrats and many on the left think that the law is malleable in too many instances where it is not. The law is the law, and unless the Supreme Court dictates something other, it is the law. And you have to go with that. And for her to put this out there is wrong.
Yeah. What do you say, Cheryl?
Well, I think that the reverse is already happening, and we're going to see it continue to happen. And that is the blowback from these state AGs trying to change the law, change the Constitution. To Todd's point, you see nothing but Donald Trump going up in the polls every time that a move like this happens, whether it's a new charges against him, a new indictment, or it's the state AGs, whether it's Maine or Colorado, going after the former president, trying to remove him from the ballot. Look, it's all going to the Supreme Court anyway. That should be a fast decision from what we understand and what's being reported over on Fox News. But at the same time, look, you know, it's a dangerous road here for these state AGs to take, because you're going to do nothing but anger people who say, you know what, let me decide. I don't want you, the state AG of Colorado, to tell me who I can and cannot vote for. I want to make that decision on my own because, I don't know, I'm an adult with voting rights. And I think that it should be left up to the voters. That's why we have a democracy in this country. And I think that's why, if you really listen, besides the fact that she sounds like she has COVID, I think that's why Pelosi kind of deferred a little bit in her answer. I saw her kind of gauging or kind of, you know, hedging her bets a little bit, because she knows that if she comes out and says, oh, absolutely, he should be taken off the ballot, it's going to embolden support for Trump. And she doesn't want that.
Yeah, I guess not, John. That's the whole thing. What are they so afraid of? They hate him with such a passion. They are trying so hard to remove him from the planet. Why?
Well, I think they're afraid of possible vengeance in the event that Trump becomes president once again. That perhaps has them worried. But they're going about this in the wrong way. They're a bunch of arrogant elitists that are trying to tell people who is and who is not eligible to run for president, not on the basis of the Constitution, but on the basis of their own personal political beliefs in what they think is best for democracy, when in fact they are interfering with democracy. This is something that's bound to backfire for those leading this effort.
Well, I don't know, because, Todd, you know, the Democrats keep digging in on the Republicans are bad for democracy. They just say it, even though what they're actually doing is actually against our own Constitution. So they say what they're doing is what the other side is doing, and they get away with it.
It's textbook definition of gaslighting. This is exactly what gaslighting is. But to answer your question to John, my thoughts on this, have you been to D.C. lately? Have you seen how beautiful the buildings are in D.C.? Obviously, we talk about crime and such, but D.C. has been built up a lot over the last 25 years. Why is that? Because there's a lot of money in D.C. And the factors that get that money, that get those government handouts, that profit off of our taxpayer dollars, are really worried as to what Donald Trump and a Republican, hardcore conservative Congress would do to that. Their money train would be over, and the American taxpayers could benefit, and they don't want that, Maria. They do not want that. That's not how they make their grift.
Yeah. Well, Cheryl, I mean, at this point, Donald Trump is the leading candidate, and there are expectations that he's going to wrap up this nomination by the middle of March. What will the Democrats do then?
Well, obviously, they are already gearing up, because we've heard from Pelosi, we heard from Michelle Obama. You're hearing from others that are sounding the alarm bell, is even President Biden, because they know that it looks like, and again, we have to wait for people to go to the polls, and I want everybody to have that opportunity, and I hope they go out and vote. The concern from the Democrat side is no one's going to show up, and that's going to hurt them, and that's going to lead to the Republican nominee taking the presidency. But at the same time, they're also concerned, you can see, that that's what they don't like. It's what they don't want. It's how they feel. And I think what's going to be interesting to see that narrative. But yes, to your point, based on the polls, right now, it looks like it's a one-man race.